20 minutes later, the signature line of President Reagan's 8 years.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Junior.
200,000 people converge on the nation's capital to rally for civil rights. They come united in one cause.
One day right now in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
This
will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
All right. I had a little bit of technical difficulties. I'll do another intro here. I'm Johnny Caruso, your host on the Unpopular Opinion Show. This is the show with the unpopular opinions. If you look here, if you look up here, right here, you'll see the videos are timestamped. Now, those are the hot topics, but the videos are based on unpopular opinions, right? So I just got to caution you before you run to the video that these are not mainstream opinions or views. These are unpopular opinion views. And I just hope you guys can appreciate that. I'm working this timestamp here. But I'm your host, Johnny Caruso. We're giving you some unpopular opinion views, and I hope you appreciate it. I'm going to throw you to the PB podcast to get their take on this Trump-Putin situation, meeting in Alaska. And y'all tell me what you think. Let's go to it.
President Trump announced on Truth Social that he'll meet Russian President Vladimir Putin on the 15th in Alaska, stating the highly anticipated meeting between myself as the President of the United States and Vladimir Putin of Russia will take place next Friday, August 15th, in the great state of Alaska. Trump told reporters the war between Ukraine and Russia lasting 3.5 years is complicated. Rob, if this is the clip, go ahead and play this clip.
Does Putin have to meet with Zelensky in order and before you and Putin have to meet? Or are you
No.
Are you
so you're willing to? That's actually important because President Putin said this morning he was pretty dismissive of this idea of meeting with President
Who was?
Zelensky. President Putin was.
I don't know. I didn't hear
For
him.
you to meet with him, he doesn't have to agree to meet with Zelensky. Is that what you're saying?
No, he doesn't. No.
So when do you think that meeting?
They would like to meet with me, and I'll do whatever I can to stop the killing. So last month, they lost 14,000 people killed last month. Every week is 4,000 or 5,000 people. So I don't like long waits. I think it's a shame. And they're mostly soldiers. They're Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, and some people from the cities where, missiles are lobbed in and you'll lose 35, 40 people a night, which is terrible. But no, mostly it's soldiers, and you're talking about, on average, 20,000 a month. 20,000 people are dying a month. Generally young people, soldiers.
Okay, so this was supposed to be the president of war. So this sounds like the president of peace, but they invited Zelensky, okay, just to kind of give you a little bit more context. They're thinking about inviting Zelensky to the summit, okay? It's being discussed, and another saying it's absolutely possible, adding everyone is very hopeful that would happen, a senior White House official clarified. The president remains open to a trilateral summit with both leaders. Right now, the White House is focusing on planning the bilateral meeting requested by Putin without Zelensky being there. And at the same time, Xi says to, is this the clip of him, by the way?
Yes, the translation's just a little off. We used AI to translate it, but this is Zelensky saying that Ukraine would not surrender territory.
That's
to
what's
Russia.
important. So if you want to play this clip, Rob, because this the part that matters. Go ahead.
The Ukrainian territorial issue is already in the constitution of Ukraine. Nobody will be able to deviate from this. Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupant. Ukraine is ready for real decisions that can give peace. Budi Karishny, who are against us. Buda Karishny, who without Ukraine, they are once against us. Oh, one give nothing, it's dead Rishnin. They will never work, and we all need a real living peace here, which people will respect.
Okay, so when you hear that, then you hear the response, Putin reportedly willing to end the war if he gets eastern Ukraine. And Zelensky flat out telling you, I'm not interested. Here's Putin.
In our conditions, to start such a conversation simple and come down to the following. Ukrainian troops must be completely withdrawn from Donetsk, Lugansk People's Republics, Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions. And I draw attention precisely from the entire territory of these regions, the limits of their administrative borders, which existed at the time of their driving in Ukraine. As soon as in Kyiv they declare that she is ready for such, the resolution will begin the real conclusions of the troops from these regions, as well as officially notified of the rejection of plans to enter in NATO on our part immediately, literally in the same a minute will follow the order to cease the fire and begin the negotiation. I repeat, we will do it immediately. Naturally, at the same time, we guarantee an irresistible and safe discharge of Ukrainian units and formations. Of course, we would like to count on what a decision is, and about the withdrawal of troops and about outside the bloc status. And he began dialogue with Russia from which to declare from the future existence of Ukraine and Kyiv will be accepted.
You can pause it right there. Okay, so Tom, what do you think is going to happen here on Friday? You think Zelensky's going to show up? You think he's not going to show up? You think Zelensky's going to eventually give Eastern Ukraine? What do you think is going to end up happening?
I think Zelensky has to show up, and he's playing a little bit of a game now. But the advisors and people that are around Zelensky are like, "Hey, this is serious. You need to go to this, and you need to go to the table." And what Russia is asking for is, is basically the Russian-speaking region of Ukraine that long ago was part of Russia. Now you can make your own conclusion about where you say, well, you don't bully yourself back into it, but also there was, it was triggered because of the threat to enter, NATO after being told they weren't. So I think Zelensky, for all the reasons, for the NATO reason, for the territory reason, and for the war reason, he can't not show up. I think if he doesn't show up, it's just like a really bad look. So you want to continue this war? You're not going to show up? You're trying to have a peace? And the peace treaties like this is how they happen, on neutral soil with a...
All right, there you go. There you have it. So was those guys' unpopular opinion. I'm sure that most of you, first time watching this channel, you haven't heard many conservative points of views, and that's okay. But now's the chance that I give you my unpopular opinion. And like I said, strap on your seatbelts, get ready for it. Hey, feel free to talk shit in the comment section. You don't know what you talking about. What the hell are you talking about? I get it. I understand that's your opinion. But this is not going to be the mainstream opinion I'm about to give you. Okay? First of all, Russia. They invaded Crimea, then New Brunswick area. I can't say these Russian names. Please forgive me. And they did so because the culture in those areas, even though it's a Ukraine territory, the culture is somewhat Russian. That'd be like Canada invading New York and Buffalo, because there's some Canadians that lived in Buffalo, New York. You see how just freaking crazy that sounds? Of course, they wouldn't do it because we're the United States, but Ukraine's not the United States. There is something Trump can do. And what he can do is he can tariff 100% China and Russia to prevent them from buying Russian oil, which is why it makes sense that he has not they're the only one of the few countries he has not made the trade deal yet on tariffs, is because it makes no sense in giving them the same deal he gave Europe at 20% or whatnot. If they're going to continue to buy Russian oil, and he's going to have to raise the tariff rate back up to 100%. Makes no sense to make a deal with them now, right? Just to see where it goes in this meeting. I'm hearing from Lavrov, the Russian ambassador, does all the speaking. He's like our Marco Rubio. He said they're not giving up Crimea. So it seems like they might be willing to deal on the eastern part of Ukraine. I don't know. But I hear people say, well, Trump, he's losing. He said he'll end the war day one. How was he ever going to do that? It don't matter what he said. See, some of y'all don't understand lingo, sarcasm. Here's the thing. Trump don't lose politically if he doesn't. Now, if he had to run again, he would lose politically. Just like Biden, all the fucked up shit he did, he lost zero political clout. Why? Because he's irrelevant after this. Unlike his VP, she lost a lot of political clout, right? This is about legacy. This is about legacy. And legacy, every president leaves a legacy. I thought Obama left a legacy of killing Osama bin Laden after Bush went years and couldn't find him. I thought that Biden left a legacy of opening our border to 15 million people with no plans to stop that, just continue that every year. 15 more million, 15 more million, 15. And you don't act like we're taking care of our kids and our schools and everything now with the resources that the government had. We're barely doing that shit. So I don't know what the plan there was for. So that's his legacy. And now Trump, he's already stopped 5 wars. I know what you say. That's kind of unpopular opinion. But listen, if you listen to rap, you don't know what's going on in country music. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you're a Democrat, you're not going to know what's going on in the Republican world. It's like a whole new world. So you can do your research. He has already stopped 5 wars. And this would be one of the biggest ones. This one and the Israel thing. But this one would be pretty big. So, he's got a while to do it because it didn't start on his watch. But it's not, it has nothing to do with points. Will it get done? Will Putin make some kind of agreement with Trump? I think it's going to go like this. Trump is going to tell him, look, you're going to move out the territory. And if you do, we're going to buy some raw earth minerals. Europe, for whatever reason, was buying Russian oil, which don't make no damn sense at all. Now they're buying American oil. And so people laugh and say, America's an oil-driven country. We got tech, NVIDIA, we got agriculture, we got all kind of shit. Russia is primarily oil, right? The Chinese, you think they make everything, but they don't get no oil out the ground. Neither does India. It's weird because they're right there by Saudi Arabia. I think they would have figured it out. So they're buying Russian oil to help, because they need it. They're not really just trying to prop them up. They actually need oil bad. And Russia lost this market. The whole, people think China's our biggest market. Collectively, the European nations are our biggest market. They're over 50%. We do business with them. Over 50% exports and imports, So Putin lost out on that. So now he's looking to make a deal to get some income back. If he wants to sell some land for some raw earths to Trump or the United States, he'll do it. Because he's got a lot of enemies. But if you can convince anybody that the USA is your buddy, they may say whatever they want, but they ain't gonna fuck with you, I tell you that. You know what I mean? So yeah, he really needs the US. He needs to make a deal. And it has nothing to do with this war, because there's 2 things this war is doing to him. It's exposing him, his military, that is a paper tiger, and it's exposing his their economy. And the longer this drags on, the worse it is. But I think Trump knows what he wants to make a deal on. But Trump's session is going to be like, you're going to have to move out. You're going to have to move back. And initially, he's going to refuse because he's trying to run over there on behalf of China and say, look, I'm going to go make a deal. And, you know, they're not going to raise tariffs on you. It's all good. I got your back, China. Only Trump ain't fucking around. You know, y'all call him Taco, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Putin don't move back. Trump is going to hit India and China. Just because someone's your big trade partner don't mean they're a good trade partner. You know, watch your enemies and watch your friends and keep your enemies close. Like, those partners were horrible for us. Like, horrible. You know, they took all our jobs. They're horrible. And look, I don't know if you guys know what the WTO is. That's the World Trade Organization. I think it started in the 70s. I could be wrong. But it kind of came about after World War II, the developing nations, the Europeans basically, they ran trade, the ships all around the world. And they wanted to bring in some third and second world countries into the fold. But really, they seen markets like China where they could export their goods from and seen a way to make profit. So they brought them in. But what China did was like, oh shit, okay, we can now sell our products to the rest of the world and get rich. So they started manufacturing little shit that you didn't think you needed, right? And they got fucking rich. And they came from the bottom to the top. And they climbed the ladder up there almost to the United States. And they built up their military almost as big as the United States. Well, experience in the military and prowess of the military. I'm not going to say they're on par with the United States. But they're the closest thing. And sure the hell ain't Russia. I think this war has exposed Russia deeply on that matter. So it's not Russia. But if I was to say just 20, 30 years ago, China was a poor economy and Japan was the big dog, right? And the United States strategically has no business propping up China, it's one thing to trade with them and we get rich too, but trade with them, we're not getting rich. And your military is on the verge of wanting to topple over us. That's a national security issue. So do we really want to make good trade deals with China and so they can keep feeding their military machine and be on par with us? I'll let you think about that. So at the end of the day, it wouldn't be popular for Trump to come out and say, hey, let's decouple from China. You know, it'd be a big shit show on Washington, D.C. Who you think you are and blah, blah, blah. It's funny you'll hear the Democrats say tariffs on foreign countries is going to pass the cost on to the consumer. Even though it's been like 3-4 months, stock market going up, we haven't really seen none of that. But that's what they say. But they're quick to raise taxes on rich people who are business owners that do pass the tax on to the consumer. They're okay with that shit. I'll give you a prime example. They love in California. They love raising the minimum wage. You know, I don't know, it's what, 20, 25 an hour now, minimum wage? Well, the manager that was making 25 an hour, they can't just make 25 an hour. So they're not just forcing business owners to raise the minimum wage to low-level workers. Now the managers have to now get a raise. So now you're doubling the budgets. You're doubling the payroll, but you're not doubling the workload, the workforce, right? You know, you're doubling the expense for the business owner, but you're not allowing him to get double the workers. You see what I'm saying? So then they pass the cost on to the consumer. And if you don't think they do, go to McDonald's in California. I bet you can't get nothing in there for $5. I mean, maybe you can get a water for $5 in a McDonald's California, maybe, but nothing else, right? So I don't know. They play a game where they're cool with taxing the rich and business owners, but they have an issue with collecting tariffs from foreign nations. And in the past 2 months, the country hasn't been in a deficit. We've been in a surplus. Yeah. $32 billion each month, and it's expected to climb higher, which some are saying for people under $250,000, they're saying might not have to pay no taxes at all. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but you need to think about the practicality of this. Okay? Follow me. All right. So, yeah, so I think Putin is going to initially go in with his play, which is to try to play Trump, to not get Trump to cause any tariffs to his partners that he's trading on, because he's already slipped the rug from him and said, look, you're not trading with the EU no more. And now Trump is trying to make a play where he can't trade with India or China, and that would totally fuck up Russia, right? So Putin is trying to tell them, his partners, hey, it's cool. I'm going to keep selling y'all all. Everything's going to work out. Trump's not going to tariff you. Yes, the fuck he is. Yes, the fuck he is. And they're going to have to find some other place. There's no other consumer. They might have a population. China has billions of people, even though they're declining every year because of their one-child policy. And India has billions of people. But they don't, collectively, they don't have the income as Americans do to buy all that shit. You see what I'm saying? That's why the United States, like the third largest country, largest population in the world, but consumer, we're the world's largest consumer, and it ain't even close. So, you know, like if you were selling weed, you know, that guy buys a dime bag, that guy buys, you know, a half ounce, that guy buys a quarter. But this guy over here, every time he comes through, he's buying 20 pounds. Like, you really want to lose that customer? So that's really, you know, for y'all street level cats, that's what it is, having the United States in the game. And that's why Trump knows he really has all the cards to play here. Every country has maybe, some countries have no cards to play, and some countries have one or two cards to play. The United States has all the cards to play whenever, however the hell they want to. And that's where it is. So I don't think Putin is going to get the deal he wants, and he's going to drag it on, and one or two things is going to happen to him. There's going to be a situation like in Iraq when you're seeing them kill Saddam. You know, pretty soon the United States made a deal with Germany to sell, instead of doing the Biden policy, which is we're just going to give 300 billion, 200 billion, whatever to Ukraine. And between the Ukrainians, and probably even the Russians, they get a percentage of that money and split it up among them. Who knows what the fuck happened to that money, right? Like, think about it, right? Yes, that's one thing to support, but that's my money. That's my tax dollars. What the fuck did you really do with all that fucking money, right? Anyway, I had to pause for a second. I caught a brain fart. But instead of doing that way, Trump administration come in and said, look, y'all want to supply Ukraine weapons to keep this going? They don't have to come from American dollars. It's you guys' war. He made them up their annual defense budget from 2 to 5%. That gives them more money when they need weapons. So now Trump is like, here you go. Germany will sell you our top of the line weapons. Now Germany they're still not going to give Ukraine those weapons. But Germany has some older weapons, and they want to upgrade, so they're going to take American weapons, they're going to buy from America, and their older weapons, which is still upgrade than what Ukraine is using. I think we're talking about F-15s, F-16s here. They're going to sell that to Ukraine. And now they unrestricted, you know, the UK, they're trying to implement the policies here with the EU. That's why their economy is crumbling, because they don't allow businesses to grow because they're anti-business, and they can't reach a certain plateau anymore, and they're crumbling. But they even crumbled this war. They're like, no, you can do all this and do that, but you can't fire deep into Russia. What kind of bullshit is that? So now they finally realized they had to uplift that dumbass policy. Okay, now that we can go in there, we need to go in there with more than just drones. So now it's going to take 6 to 18 months for this transaction to conclude. Shipments to Germany give their old planes to Ukraine, but it's going to be updated technology. And then now Ukraine flying in there. Once they knock out United States technology is the best to knowing where your defense capabilities are, like where your air defenses are. Once your air defenses are knocked out, you cannot protect your country. The United States has the best intelligence to help Ukraine do that if they ever want to do that. And believe me, they will. They will do that, and down will go Putin. Because the people over there are brainwashed. They're listening to propaganda news, so they think everything is going good in Putin's world and the economy. So you're not going to get the people to overthrow. Like here in America, there's enough people who can get on YouTube and see alternative news and facts instead of just relying on CNN, NBC, you know. But over there, you don't have access. They control the media. They control all the internet. They control all of that. So that's one way. The second way is that China and India, they're starting to get squeezed by the Americans. They can't make money selling into America no more. And they don't have enough money to buy the oil they need. So they have a talk with Putin like, yo, go back, talk to Trump, make another deal, better deal. So that's my unpopular opinion. It's going to happen one or two ways. And that's how it's going to happen. But nah, Putin, they're going to be cordial. But I think you're going to hear something like, oh, it went well, but we'll be implementing our plans. We'll let you know something on Tuesday. And then Tuesday or Wednesday, sometime next week, a spokesman for Trump, or maybe Trump will come out and say, we'll be entering a tariff of 100% on China and India. It's going to happen. Watch. So look, that's my unpopular opinion of the day. Bash me, hate me, talk shit about me in the comment section all you want. I love you. I still love you. I still love you. Just thank you for being here. And if you found this in any kind of way useful, if you entertain me, whatever, give me a subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Until then, love, peace, happiness.